2.9. In lesson 2.9, we're going to apply what we worked on from yesterday. We're going to be graphing after we solve these inequalities. Okay? So, let's go back and talk about solving. Solving an equation. Remember, when you're solving an equation, you're proving a solution. You're proving what the solution is to an equation. But in this case, instead of an equation, we're going to change it to an inequality, which means it has the less than sign, or the greater than sign, or the less than or equal to sign, or the greater than or equal to sign, which means that one side is not necessarily equal to the other side, but it's more than or less than the other side. Okay? Now, the process for solving is exactly the same. When you're solving these, you're going to solve them the exact same way that we solved them before. So in this case, we're starting with n plus 8 is greater than or equal to 19. And to solve it, we're going to think of this as n plus 8 is equal to 19, and then find what n is. So by getting rid of the 8, you add negative 8 to get rid of 8, and then you add negative 8 to the other side, and then that proves n, because n is by itself on the left side, n is greater than or equal to 11. Okay? That's where we get, that's how we get to this inequality. N is greater than or equal to 11. So we solve these the same way. Now, in order to get our solution though, we have to graph it because n is not a single number. N can be anything on that side of 11, and it can be 11. 11 makes it true because 11 is equal to 11. And any number to the right of 11 is also true, because 12 is greater than or equal to 11, 13 is greater than or equal to 11, 14, and all the numbers to the right of n, or to the right of 11. Okay? So we have to graph it with a solid dot, mark 11, n is greater than, so we shade to the right. Okay? So again, the process is the same. Now, remember way back when I was teaching you how to solve these, and I said, you can't just move something from one side to the other side for no reason. That's against the rules in math. You can't move something from one side of the symbol to the other side. Because now, if you do that, it's going to mess up the symbol. If we start with negative 26 is greater than y plus 14, and you just decide, I'm going to put the y on the other side. Well then, the symbol would be wrong. We have to keep the numbers, keep the sides the same, because that symbol is showing you which side is bigger. Okay? So, again, you always start on the side with the variable. Repeat that.
You always start on the side with the variable.
Yep. Add the opposite of whatever number you have. So add the opposite of 14, which is what, Reese? Negative 14. Good. Add negative 14 to both sides. So that negative 26 plus negative 14 gives you negative 40. And so negative 40 is greater than y, which means that y is less than negative 40. So when we graph it, you're going to use an open dot and an arrow to the left. Okay? Now, let's skip down on your worksheet. Skip down to number 6. And let's do some of these together. Number 6. Y minus 7 is greater than or equal to negative 21. Okay, we've got to solve this and graph it. So first we've got to solve it. What do we have to insert on this side?
No, plus.
Insert a plus sign, right? Because this is negative 7. We have to add the opposite of negative 7. How do we solve it, Patty? How do we solve this? Add the opposite of -7. So add, good. Add +7 to both sides. Now what do we have, Adam? Not 14. -21. It's -14. Yep. So y is greater than or equal to -14, right? So then graph this. And on your sheet, the graph will be to the side of it. Mark 0. Mark -14. What kind of dot should we use, Johnny? Closed dot. Good. And what is y? It says y is greater than or equal to. So we shade to the right. Any questions? Any questions on this? Go to the back side. Do number 8. This one is just in a different order. 9 is less than 3 plus n. Trinity, where should we start? Yeah, where should we start on this? Should we start on the side with the variable, or should we start on the other side? Good, side with the variable. And add the opposite. So add what? Good, add -3 to both sides. Now what? Yep. So this is 0. This 3 plus -3 is 0. 0 plus n. What is our symbol? Nope, this is the less than because it's pointing to the left. And then 9 plus -3. 6. Yep. So 6 is less than n. How would we graph this? How do you graph 6 is less than n? If 6 is less than n, then n is what is n? Do we point this, do we graph this with an open dot, and should we shade to the right, to the same, to the left, the same direction as the arrow is pointing, or the opposite? Who said the opposite? Let me say the opposite. Sam? Good. The opposite way. Why?
Because it's more than 6. N is more than 6.
Okay, because n is greater than 6. Good. Or when you look at the order that this is written, the number is written first, and so the shading goes the opposite direction as the symbol. Alright? If we turn this around, it means n is greater than 6. When the variable is written first, remember that the point of the symbol and the shading go the same direction. They're both pointing to the right. Okay? Any questions on that? All right, skip down to number 11. I'll help you with number 11. 31n is less than 93. Now, this isn't an addition or subtraction equation or inequality. What is this? What does 31n mean, Asa? No, what does 31n mean? Good. 31 times some number. So we're not going to solve this, AJ. Wait. We're not going to solve this by adding or subtracting anything. We have to get rid of the 31 by doing what? Sam, straight. Jordan?
What?
What are we gonna?
Spray water at me.
I'm trying to get you back on
That's okay.
task here, okay? So, we said that this is a multiplication equation. What are we going to use to solve it? How are we going to cross out the 31? We can't add or subtract anything. We're going to use division, right? Divide by, what is this number called? Oh, the
Efficient.
Right, divide by the coefficient on both sides. Now, what do we have to do with the 31s, AJ?
You have to cross them out.
Why?
To show that they cancel each other out.
Good, they're equal to
0. 1.
1. 31 divided by 31 is
1.
So we have 1n is less than what? N is less than 3. And graph that. You know how to graph that. Okay? Yep, we've been working on that. How about the next one? Number 13. This one is not a multiplication equation. This is a what? Oops. Not equal to, it's greater than. Now, we have to multiply by the what? What's it called when you flip the fraction over? What is that called? The reciprocal. We have to multiply by the reciprocal. This is 1 over 9, 1/9. And we have to multiply by what? Caleb? Get rid of the 9 in the denominator. Well, if we multiply by negative now, we'll have -1. The reciprocal is just the same fraction flipped over. So not 1 over 9, but 9 over 1. Right, 9 over 1. Cross off the 9s. Cross off the, they're already 1s. Cross off the 1s. We're looking for 1s. Okay? Multiply by 9 on this side. If we multiply by 9 on the left side, we have to multiply by 9 on the right side. What's -72 times 9? Jordan?
-648. Wow.
It's called brain power.
Okay. And then graph that. Any questions? Okay, we're going to take a quiz on this on Friday. All right, we'll grade this tomorrow. We'll go through this and then quiz on Friday.